Hello, and welcome to a new video about Path of Exile. More specifically, the resources that a new player should be utilizing. There's so many different things within this game that are complex, that has depth, that has scale, that has niches or niches within the economic structure of the game. There's so much depth. There's not just like the delving depth, by the way, like actual depth within this game. So this video is going to be catered towards those people trying to navigate their way throughout the end game of maps, not necessarily the whole like leveling experience or figuring out your build, but figuring out what are you doing in Path of Exile, what are you spending your time doing. So we're going to take a look at one of the most important resources that everyone, including experienced Path of Exile players, are always going to default back onto, and that is the wiki. There are multiple wikis for this game, however this is the one that you need to use. PoEWiki.net, link will be in the description. This is a passion project of select individuals, and it has gone through its ups and downs. It has its own Discord. Yeah, right here, Discord. It was a thing, and then it wasn't a thing, and now it's been a thing again. And with this wiki, you have everything you would ever need to know. It updates so quickly, and it is also hosted specifically by Grinding Gear Games. Grinding Gear Games hosts this. This is Grinding Gear Games. This is something that you're going to learn about this company. They are very in touch with their community because several of these things kind of go hand in hand within the development cycle of the game. So there's a lot of what's the word for it? Synchronizing of these resources. So the next thing is going to be more of a wiki, but it's going to be more specific and tailored towards the maps that you're doing, and that is divcards.io. And this website basically takes the wiki and it distills it down to a much more palpable and quicker navigational set. So I'm going to take the Sephiroth. Now, this is not going to tell you what the card does, because if you're inputting information into, I have this card, you clearly know what the card does. So it's going to tell you the Sephiroth. It comes from this map, Residence. And if you're playing D4, or you're coming from D4, Residence is a map. A map is basically a dungeon within the endgame structure of this game that you go into, you kill things, and you get loot. Some of them do actually have annoying little mechanics within them, but that's very few and very far between. So if we go to map and we type in residence, probably hanged because I had something highlighted. It's going to tell you the name of the card, the stack size of that card to get the result. The result in this case is 10 divine orbs, and divine orbs are a main staple of bulk trading currency and crafting within the game. And this tier, it's listed as God tier. This is listed as useful as AF, which F, we all know what that means. Meh, situational. It labels them based off of a trade value. So if you play SSF or Solo Self-Found or Ruthless, these values are going to be very different based off of that. And then it actually links directly to the Wikipedia. So it'll take you directly to the Wikipedia. These are all the gems. We'll do Doriani's Fist here and Doriani's Fist. And then it'll tell you all the way over here, the conduit. And then the conduit, it'll tell you the conduit has restrictions on where and how it can drop, dominus, and map-based variants. Like I said, it gives you all the information without you having to read a wall of text. If that makes any sense to you, it's going to end up being on your search bar. It's going to be something that you use quite a bit. Divcards.io, very, very good. Your next thing that you're going to want as a new player, as a resource, is PoE Lab. PoE Lab is very old. I've been using this for years, it feels like. I think it started in 2017 or 2018. Some of these guides are from 2018, but I feel like it was before then. So very first thing you're going to notice right at the top is the little icons. There's a lot of different icons for different things within this game. This icon is specifically labyrinth related items. So when you do other league mechanics, you're going to be introduced to these different icon systems, and these icon systems are explained within this own website. So we're going to go to Labyrinth, and you're going to be doing Labyrinth a few times throughout the campaign, and then there's Uber Labyrinth, which is a much harder lab. And with Uber Labyrinth, you'll already have engaged in the system if you're probably watching this video, so you've seen the easier ones, but we'll go look at a normal one real quick. This is a very standard layout. Normal doesn't change much, but when you get into the Uber Labs, these change quite a bit. They have a lot of different mechanics. They have dark shrines. It tells you which room it's located. So 6th room in, you have a dark shrine in that room. 9th room in, which would be this one, you have a dark shrine as well. It tells you the traps. It'll tell you tips and tricks. It'll tell you puzzle solutions. It'll tell you how to solve certain puzzles if you really get stumped. A lot of people, they enjoy as a new player engaging in these mechanics, but in case you get like just absolutely stumped and like you really just want to get it done and over with because you can't be asked, these kind of resources do exist. They have never like gone through and like overhauled a lot of the lab mechanics. They did like dark shrines and some other things, but they've never gone through and like overhauled any of these traps, so they've pretty much been the same for a while. Once you play the game for a few leagues, you kind of get an understanding of how the labyrinth works, but this gets you in the door. And then for PoE guides within this section, they do have like act leveling guides in case you get confused. They do have league mechanics. They have endgame bosses, which is really important in my opinion if you want to get into this kind of stuff. So for example, Breach Lords, it'll tell you different things that you're going to want to look out for. These are the modifiers that affect the boss. There's another website that I'm not going to include here just because it's very confusing to navigate, but that's called PoE DB. I guess I'll just briefly show it. PoE DB. PoEDB.tw. You can find out all these like random information. This is specifically like Shaper Uniques, but you can go through here and you can find like projectiles, and it'll tell you this is the skill, this is how hard it hits, it penetrates 40% cold res. It's very very niche. That's like kind of more towards the super endgame, is like when you actually utilize PoEDB. This is more like new player focused. Etiquette in PoE, there's like I guess this isn't dated. I play SSF, so I don't even know what the etiquettes are anymore. For cheat sheets, one thing, if you're a new player, you may not know this, slash passives, and I believe you need to complete the entire campaign in order to have access to this. I'm not entirely certain, but that's usually when I'm doing this, is slash passives. It'll tell you if you've missed any passives. Please keep in mind that the deal with the bandits, if you took a specific bandit, you're not going to have, it's going to say 0, but if there's zeros in any other line of text, it means that you're missing some passive skill points for free. There's some other like interesting ones. You can do like slash ladder, slash played, age. You can do like slash menagerie, slash hideout with the character's name to enter someone else's hideout, reset XP if you want to keep track of how fast you're going. Cheat sheets, the Legion cheat sheet, all these currency icons and everything are used in many other mechanics within like metamorphs, within Legion, within blight. There's all sorts of different mechanics within the game that use these same icons to associate loot with, so it's good to familiarize yourself. A lot of people, the big ones are unique items, map items, currencies, obviously good, labyrinth items if in case you don't like doing lab but you still want like enchants or something. Harbingers are good, essences are great, scarabs are good. Fossils can be money, but typically aren't too valuable unless you're doing like very bulk trade. So it'll get you familiarized with some of these icons and what they actually mean and represent and the loot associated with it. If you want to do delving, they have information on delve. If you want to do incursion temples, they have information on temples. Syndicate, this is incredibly confusing mechanic, however incredibly useful to understand. The big things are like Aisling, Rin, unique maps. They're going to end up changing this because they just, with 3.22, they disabled the ability to get unique maps from Kurak missions, which is the guy who gives you your atlas and has you engage in the endgame mapping. He can no longer provide unique maps as like a bounty reward, so you're going to need to get your unique map completion from something. Getting Ren into research is one way to get unique maps as like an SSF player or someone trying to fill out their atlas and maybe they just don't want to buy stuff on trade for whatever reason. You're a new player and you just want to play the game instead of actually like buying every individual thing that you need for your character. Another good one is Hillock. Gives you armor and weapon quality directly affects your ability to link an item. So if you have a chest piece and you have 6 sockets and you really want to link this chest piece, you can always use the armor quality. It gives you a random value. Actually no, the random value one is from a fossil. From Hillock, if it's like higher tier, it will automatically be 30% quality. It's not the highest quality you can get in the game. I believe the highest quality is like in the 40s or 50s. I think currently it's 48, but it used to be, I think, way higher than 48. What's some other ones? Vegan, Legion. Legion's a very, very popular mechanic across any player, no matter what mode they play. And then Veritzi, however you want to pronounce his name. Socket currency and white sockets. Obviously these are the areas of the betrayal board that you have to put the character in, and then you have to level them up to get better rewards. You can get up to 3 white sockets, and white sockets, you might see one while you're playing, up to like Act 10, because rare mobs can occasionally drop white socketed items, but this allows you to add white sockets to bases. So you've probably seen a full armor piece that's like a 5 link or something, and you're like, I only have blue and green gems. You can use the crafting bench to force a few gems, and maybe use like a Verici to add in a white socket to hopefully the other red socket, and then turn it into an item that is actually usable so long as you can meet the attribute requirement to that. So very, very useful. In general, there's so many things. They have merch, they have Patreon, they have Discord. So if you choose to support this website, you can. The ads, I think, just pay for basically keeping the website online. The guy who runs it, I believe his name is Suit Sized Small, if I haven't already mentioned that. And yeah, it's just all in all a fantastic website. The next website that you're going to need to get familiarized with here is Filterblade. So you would come to this website, and it's Neversink, so you're going to see his name every once in a while on this website. He's the one who does all this. And you're going to sign in with PoE. It's going to redirect you to pathofexile.com. You can sign in, authorize, and now it's officially linked. You have like save and export. You have your you can sync, you can download filters. Some people like to download them and manually adjust them on the fly. You can set them to be public. You can set descriptions. As you can see, these are my filters, so I'll just load the super strict and go into the overview, you'll see that there's like different values for different things, and it displays things in a way that is easy. And you'll see these lined out items. These are the ones that are hidden but still dropped. And there's a hotkey. Mine is set to Z. I don't know what the base game hotkey is for it, but you can figure that out to basically be able to like toggle on like a show all feature. If you have a really bad computer though, that can lag and crash some computers. So in some scenarios, doing it, you might end up lagging. There are videos of like some of the big like juicer parties, they show all, and all of a sudden like it's chaotic, it's a wall of items. But you can set things to different thematics. There's a World of Warcraft one. I know a lot of people, they play World of Warcraft or they like World of Warcraft. I've never personally played it, but you guys get your own filter base preset. There's like Tabula Rasa, which is more like simplistic if you want something super simple. There's like Krangled, where it's just like walls of color. And then there's like all these different ones, like this more red thematic, red and whites and yellows. Azurite is a bit more like Delvey-ish. Abyss, which is more, has a lot of like greens and reds and golds. You have Lunaris. This is one that I kind of like a lot. My personal favorite right now has been the Necros, because a lot of the base items are like green. One thing I will say is sometimes when you customize things and you change things too much, you may have some things like different shades that interact differently with certain mechanics. Like there's a certain shade of blue that is associated with looting chests from Expedition. I don't know why I was just blanking on the name, but it's Expedition. And Expedition, they have blue chests, so if you make items that are common blue, it'll like overlap and you may miss a chest unless you hide all of the items on the ground real quick. Then you may actually interact with the chest if you see it visually on your screen. So there are certain things where you might go like, I like this filter, and then like 2-3 days later you're like, wait a minute, it's showing all of this when during this specific mechanic, and that's annoying. So there are things like that. And like Blight, for example, it shoots out a ton of items, and if you don't have a super strict filter, some of the items may just like stack up so high, and then you can't see that you like maybe there's like another pod of loot underneath. There's stuff like that that can happen. So please keep in mind when you're editing your filter to an extreme. And by the way, there's like there's sounds, play loot sounds. Oh wait, I have the tab muted, but you can customize the loot sounds. I can't remember how or where, but like there's all these like silly sound effects, and maybe it's in advanced. There's some way you can edit all the sounds, but I think you can add your own sounds. It's crazy. Like there's so many, unless you're using the baseline filters, which are based off of the trade economies or ruthless. Like unless you're using one of these and you're modifying the strictness, it's just gonna turn into like a whole like, this is your filter, and every streamer can have theirs, and you can look at like different people's public profiles if they make them public. They'll have like links to them in their description of their videos, stuff like that. So very useful. Everyone engages with Filterblade whether they like it or not, basically. I know it is accepted by GGG, and GGG utilizes this for like the PlayStation and whatnot, but I don't think it is fully supported by GGG as much as the wiki is, because the wiki is very expensive to maintain. And then the last two things are going to be PoE Ninja and Path of Building. For PoE Ninja, you have a lot of like trading things. This is more for Trade League if you're an SSF player or you don't really want to engage in trade too much. It's not really that important, but basically you can click on an item like this Voidborn Reliquary key, and you can see like the price, and you can then open up like a trade thing, and it goes to PoE website, and it looks at them underneath trade within the league that you're looking at. So it helps you navigate some things, and you can see the history. You can tell trends. If you care about that kind of thing, PoE Ninja is amazing for that. I personally only really care about builds. You can look from leagues, you can look from experience or depth. Depth is delve, so this is basically a different ladder entirely that's supported within the game. You can look at the first day, you can look at the first week, you can look at the second week. If you go to like a character like this character was probably not made on the very first day. As you can see, it was made on week 9 of the league, and it goes all the way to the latest snapshot of that character. And these are all the top like 1% players. If you are on PoE Ninja, you are a 1% player essentially. So you can look at this player's build, you can see all the gems, the links, the items, the gear, the mods, all that stuff. It even gives you a path of building code. So you can copy this and import it into path of building to fully understand and kind of understand how the whole like rigging of the build works. So onto path of building. And I'm going to leave a link to a Zizarin video where he goes over path of building in a very quick manner, like sub 5 minutes. So if you want to, you can watch that. But basically it is a resource in which you can understand a build's depth and scale, and understand how certain mechanics may affect you. It's very, very, very important to understand this. There's also the community fork mod, which I'm not certain if this is the community fork modded variant. Oh yeah, it is community fork. So originally Path of Building was created by, I honestly can't remember his name. I cannot remember the original guy who started Path of Building. He now works for Grinding Gear Games. OpenARL or Open Girl or whatever his, yeah, he works for Grinding Gear now. So this project was basically Torchlit carried. This is the only thing you will ever like have to download. Like this is have to download thing. There is another website, PoE Awakened Trade. This is an important thing for anyone trying to do Awakened Trade stuff. But yeah, this is like an in-game overlay. There's plenty of videos on it. I'm not going to go over it. I play SSF. I really don't use this like ever. You can basically click an item in-game with a certain key binding, and it overlays and it goes straight to the Path of Exile trade website, and it shows you the item there, and it shows you the net worth of the item, so you can instantly put it into a tab to make a transaction that is super, super useful. And it does like so many other things. It's very, very good if you want to engage in trading like on a daily, minute by minute basis. Like I don't play trade because I hate trading. I just don't like it. It's not something for me. It may not be something for you. You may like SSF more. You may just like trade because you can occasionally buy gear that you wouldn't otherwise necessarily have. So use this one for your own discretion. You don't need it. You do not need it to play this game. But it does make the life of a daily trade enjoyer substantially easier. But this is the only thing that you actually like should download no matter what. That's it. That's all I really have for this video. I would recommend making a folder with all of these links. The links to everything will be in the description. It's completely free. There are like Patreons and Discords for different communities. There's the Path of Exile Discord as well, which I'm sure you can find through like, I don't know, some link. There's so many people that are in it. I'm in it, but I never really use it. Yeah, so that's it for this video. If you have any comments, questions, and or concerns regarding any information in here, post in the comments. I will be live streaming on YouTube my SSF start, and I will probably do plenty of update videos on my builds and things I'm doing within the game. So if any of that interests you, feel free to sub. It's completely free. I'm not trying to monetize my channel in any light or capacity right now. I'm just doing this for fun because I am bored of just playing SSF by myself. Alright, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.